Again. Well, hello everyone. Mac here with Dolphin, Judy, Tim, and Cheryl. And as promised, we wanted to talk with you for just a minute this season about the immune system and the importance of it. And thought this was probably a good slide to start with because, when I think of springtime, I think of the wood element and obviously the immune system that's associated with that. So why do we need to support our immune system? Let's first of all understand what the immune system does for it. It recognizes harmful pathogens like viruses and bacteria. It fights infections with white blood cells and antibodies. And it's so intelligent, it remembers past infections so it can respond faster next time. Thank you to those memory cells. And it does remove dead or malfunctioning cells from our body. So again, hard to live without a functioning immune system. So this is something we definitely can appreciate. Hold on just a second. There it goes. Next slide. Um, we'd like to talk with you a little bit about how we can actually boost our immune system. So, to kind of begin, we may be talking some about Sunrider food. So as always, I just want to remind everybody, please, none of the information presented in this presentation is meant to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. So with that said, Judy, do you mind if I pick you first? Okay, maybe you can, find something on this slide that resonates with you and talk to us a little bit about how the immune system is something that you deal with all the time.
Well, interestingly, I do. That is a challenge. I think most people today have never had such an onslaught against their immune system. And I have found through the years that it's best to feed it and support it because that's what it was supposed to do. That's how we're made. And oftentimes we're bombarded by so many things to try to take over for what the body is supposed to do itself. And then that only serves to weaken. It's like, the opposite effect of what we desire.
Mhm.
So, of course, all the above, all these things listed here are something we all need to consider. But honestly, I guess I focus on eating a nutrient rich diet. And that's why I'm so grateful with Sunrider and the products it provides because we just can't eat enough. And that simple truth that I learned when I first was introduced to Sunrider changed the life of myself, my family, and hopefully many others that I've had the opportunity to share with. So I like to focus on the foods is my priority, along with, of course, sleep, hydration, all the other things listed here are necessary, and sunlight. When things aren't going well, my quick fix: walk out into the yard. I love that. It fuels me. But the foods that I particularly have focused on for my self and my family in particular, quinary, who isn't seeking balance in their body, feeding all five on a daily basis. And again, as we have talked about, and most people realize the season we're in and all, alpha 20C. And I take extra of it. And during a time of illness, I will take lots of extra of it. And that makes a tremendous difference. So I guess the foods are my focus. How about Cheryl? What do you focus on?
Well, thanks, Judy. That was awesome, as always. I pretty much have them down pat after being with Sunrider for all these years, but I always thought I could get away with 5 hours of sleep, which is what I've done most of my life. And then when I hit 75, I thought, you know what? Maybe I should pay attention to this sleep thing because they say you're supposed to get 7 to 9 hours because that's when we produce these cytokine proteins and that boosts your immune system. So I thought, okay, what are the products in Sunrider I can concentrate on at night? And so for me, I started to do Cali Night, and I do it like one bag in a cup. That's been amazing with a couple of E's. And I've got Tim doing this too. My Tim, not you, Tim. Although you could start too if you wanted to. And the other thing I noticed, because I love Siberian ginseng for many reasons, but I noticed that it in the description it said it really helps with sleep. So I thought, okay, I'm going to add in a couple of Siberian ginseng, and of course our Vitadophilus, because our gut is also affected. It keeps us awake at night if we're digesting food late. So I added in Vitadophilus, and oh my gosh, the difference, amazing. So you won't catch me with 5 hours sleep anymore. I'm up now, I think, to 6 or 7.
Woo.
Yeah. So Tim, how about you?
Well, let's going right to the next subject here on the list, which is kind of right up my alley at the moment, and has been really focused for my whole life. It's because I've always been an active guy. Is exercising regularly, and a lot of people may not realize just how important it is. I'm sure the lion's share of folks out there recognize it, but practicing yoga and Tai Chi, practicing martial arts, and I've been doing. Really enjoy. I always enjoy those. Calisthenics action is so good, especially isometrics, things to wake up the body, to tell your body what you want. So you got to give it some instructions, and it wants to, and it will support what you start giving it, and especially over a consistent period of time. Lately, as I've been staying out there and loving it, I've been doing the racket sports, and we're just coming out of badminton, and it's just a great. I guess what's so fun about that is at the beginning of that re-beginning of that journey for me. I was a little concerned that I wouldn't be able to have explosive energy and thinking I might tear things and break things and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's been completely the opposite. They went through some pulls and tears and the typical things that you go through when you're training. But what's been great is overcoming them. And you mentioned a couple too. Siberian ginseng is one of my faves too, Cheryl. But you know what's great about all that exercise? And in fact, it just has to be consistent. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. I just, by choice, want to see how strong I can be. And it's exciting to do that, I must say. And like surprising the people I play against too. Like, where are you getting your energy, Bright? It's been really good. But here's the other big advantage is that when you're exercising well, it helps you determine what you're hungry for when you need to eat. And it also, guess what? When you're exercising regularly, sleep becomes just a godsend. I love jumping in the sack and getting I'm probably 6 to 7 hours consistently. And then I get that 8 hours, but I make sure I get 6 hours minimum of REM every night. So it's nothing like being able to wake up and knowing it, feeling that your body's recovered, especially when you're exercising daily. You want to. It's all about regenerating, right, and recovery. And the more consistent we are with it, the more easily the body will follow suit and give you what you ask for. But you have to show it and do it, and that's the only thing. But the other little thing is it's just the consistency. Even if it's walking 15 to 30 minutes a day, as long as it's consistent, then you'll see the gains. You'll see the advantage to consistency, and all of those other things will fall into place, including managing stress, also deciding what you really want to eat too, again, to satisfy that need. Anyway, I'm thinking about Finn. What do you have to add to this list?
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, exercise, love it. You're right. It gets everything flowing, and it also really helps with, like you say, managing stress. So when I find my stress levels starting to rise, then my immune system feels compromised because, like you said, I'm not eating properly, probably. I'm not sleeping. So for me, the first thing that I do when I find myself, kind of getting too mental and going into my head and stressing, and is I drop into my breath, and just which brings me into the now, because stress is always about either thinking about the past or the future. And so my breath, and just truly just focusing on the inhale and how it feels in my body, and then focusing on the exhale, and again just really feeling how it really feels in my body in the moment. And then sometimes I'll also add in some focus, like I'll think of a word like calm or peace, or exhaling health, or love. So that brings me back into the moment. And again, like Tim says, it's just something that you can do very quickly. It's not like I have to sit in meditation for half an hour. It can be 3 to 5 just good, solid breaths that just interrupts that pattern of the monkey wheel just starting to really spin. And then, as we were talking about, we're in spring and the emotions of frustration and anger. Like if we allow that monkey, that hamster wheel to start really spinning, then it starts to just generate more and more of those emotions that don't serve us and brings in more of the cortisol, which is not a great stress hormone. So that's key is breath. And then for food, I love the Vitadophilus as well, my gut health. So when I get stressed, I start to notice it in my tummy, right? I feel a feeling of tension and tightness, and maybe I lose my appetite. So the Vitadophilus really helps to calm the digestive system, and we have a second brain in our belly, right? The vagus nerve goes right from the brain into the stomach, and so we can calm that vagal nerve down. And probiotics, there's actually been studies showing, there's been double-blind studies shown that there's a link between good gut health and depression. And so when we feed our body those good pre and probiotics, which is found in fruits and vegetables, then we have, again, more of that opportunity to have a better frame of mind to be able to make better decisions on, okay, yeah, I do feel like going to exercise, or I can get some sleep, or just be feeling good in my mind and in my body. So love the Vitadophilus, love the Kali. Again, helps with the mind and just calming myself down. So those are some of my favorite tools to help with my immune system. Mac?
Wow, you guys. Where do I jump into this one? All of the above. Thank you very much. Everything wonderful. Thank you guys for sharing the way you did. And I'm on the same line with all you guys. I mean, we've talked, many of us, about exercise in the past, and you guys know, for me, I love hiking in Catalina State Park here in Tucson. I try to get to my martial arts classes at least 3 days a week and love that. And, it's funny, I can remember talking to J.W. Emerson, God rest his soul, years and years ago, and was talking to J.W. about working out in the martial arts and everything. And he said, Mac, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to eat a new plus a half an hour before your workout, and I want you to eat another one a half an hour after your workout in the martial arts, because that's going to give you the energy you need on the front end, and it's going to then help you rebuild yourself afterwards. So that's something I followed this entire time. I also love sports caps in terms of that too, because I don't know, there's a lot of benefits to sports caps, so we'll have this in another call, but I found that they really help build lean muscle tissue in the body. So again, I'm a sports cap person every single day. And lastly, in that regard too, and it ties into the hydration part as well, is Fortune Delight. Fortune Delight, I have found, at least for myself personally, again, working out the way I do, and Tim, but we can all relate to this, that exercise here, of course, you build up lactic acid in the body, okay, when you exercise and you're sweating and all of that kind of stuff. And again, the Fortune Delight will actually pull the lactic acid out of your body, which avoids cramping and those kind of things, which had been a challenge for me in the past with exercise. So again, appreciate all of those great products. The managing stress thing is probably the other one that I know as many of us have talked about, but same thing for me. And it's funny, I don't want to get into a lot with our vitamin D3 because it's incredible, but part of my stress management, and have experienced it many times today already, is just walking outside, being in the sun for a few minutes, taking in that natural vitamin D, then taking a breath, okay, and getting that whole rhythm going again. And then I can come back in and feel much more comfortable about what I'm doing. One of the calls that we're going to provide for you guys here in another week or so is a call about adaptogens. And for me, I mean, again, this falls under the managing stress side of things. Korean white ginseng, or Siwoo-Jia, our Intelligerise, which incorporates things like the cordyceps power and Rosia rosea, and a number of things that, again, components that help us to avoid stress, to support our immune system, and let us carry on with our lives. Now, again, we've kind of jumped over this slide. We've talked about a number of these things. Obviously, folks, Sunrider has a lot of products that help with our immune system. A couple that we didn't touch on are things like Citrix CSABs, which I guess is probably the only one we didn't talk about today. But in any case, there are some incredible products here. Obviously, we'll be posting more about each and all of these foods on our 5-Element Cycle to Wellness site. So please have a look. And speaking of posting, I just want to remind everybody once again that we're in the midst of our 2025 Spring Go Green Bundle Challenge, where we're focusing on 5 products: Evergreen, Alpha 20C, Fruit and Vegetable Rinse, Spirulina, and Dandelion Ruit. And what we'd like for you to do is to please start purchase and use at least 3 out of these 5 products here over this next 30 days. Post a picture of unboxing them, post a picture of how you're using them, do a video even better, because every time you post a photo or a video, you're going to get tickets. It'll go into a drawing. The drawing will take place on May 23rd. So the more times you've posted, the more tickets are going to be in the hat for you to potentially win. And what can you win? Obviously, health and wellness to start with by using these products. But you'll have your choice. The winner will have their choice of a 10-pack of our new Candescent Biocellulose face masks, or a 10-pack of Quinary stick packs, or a 10-pack bottle of Evergreen. So folks, again, we hope you'll join us in this Green Bundle Challenge and play with us as we carry on here this spring. And I guess with that, I'd like to, again, thank you all for joining us. Thank my co-hosts here in presenting the way they do, and just offer you guys any last comments before we carry on.
No, great job, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And sorry about that little pop-up introduction or interruption there. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next time.